Hello and welcome to this tutorial. From today onwards, we are going to discuss a new series that would be based on big data plus Hadoop. In this complete series, we will unwrap the concepts of big data and Hadoop. So let's get started. So before coming to big data, let me tell you what exactly the data is. So whenever we say we have some information or we have some chunk of information, so that chunk of information I can say in a single word, that is data. So data is something which contains some information. If I come to big data, if you Google what is big data, so you might get many definitions, but we are not going to discuss those definitions here. So we will discuss some basic things. So big data, it is a relative term. So we can't say it is a technology or it is a tool, but it is a simple a relative term. So big data is a term that describes large volume of data. So if we have chunk of information, we are saying that is data, and if we have large volume of data, we can say the particular data is big data. Okay, according to IBM, definition of big data is any data that can be characterized by 3V's, then it is called as big data. Now let's discuss these 3V's. These 3V's are very important. First is volume. So as I said, if I have volume of data, if the volume of data is huge, like how can I define the volume of data is huge? So let's suppose I'm giving you one data in CSV format, okay, and you are going to handle that data, or you are going to open that data in your computer machine. If you are able to handle that particular data in your personal computer machine, then it seems your personal machine can handle that data, or it can open that data, or it can process that data. But there might be scenario where will be 1 lakh rows and you can say 1000 columns, then it might be possible your personal machine will not be able to handle or process that data in single machine. So it seems like the volume of data is very huge. So if the data is something like that, your personal system or your single machine is not able to handle that particular volume, it seems that the data is big data. Second thing is variety. Variety means it says that the data can be in any format, like it can be in multiple format, like it can be structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data. So the data format can be anything, or there can be data in format of CSV file or in JSON file. So this also defines the characteristics of big data. Third thing is velocity. Velocity means that the speed of the data coming is very high. So we know if you deep dive in the world of data, everything is very important. Every data is very important. So you must be able to handle every upcoming data or every second data. You can say something like that. Now, some of you might think what exactly a data engineer do. So data engineer generally create data pipelines for getting the raw data from different sources. So you might think like, if you have some data, why data engineer is required? So we know data is a new oil. Every company and every business is generating lot of data day by day. So we can't say like get the data from the data source and just ingest the particular data in data warehouse or database. You can do data processing, nothing like that. So if the data amount is very huge, if the volume is high, if the varieties are different, so we need to create the data pipelines so that the data which we are preparing can be consumed by data scientists or data analysts. So the phase where we are creating the data pipeline, we are just making the data in that format where it can be consumed by data analysts and data scientists. If the data is huge and requires distributed processing capability, we will discuss this. What exactly is distributed processing capability? Then big data comes into picture. So if you are going to handle big data, obviously single machine cannot handle that data. So in that case, we need distributed processing, means multiple systems that will process our data in a single manner or a single hub system. Okay, let's come to the next thing, that is types of data processing. So majorly there are two types of data processing. online transactional processing, and second is online analytical processing. So let's discuss these things. Online transactional processing deals with real time activities, like we are dispensing cash from ATM. So this is something which we say this system is going online transactional, online we are doing online transaction. So these type of processing deals with small data, and everything is real time here. You can say we are just, the processing is happening in milliseconds, so that is why we are saying everything is real time here. But if I talk about OLAP system or online analytical processing, it deals with historical data, past activities data, and it always deals with large data. Most of the activity is batch based. Batch based means like you are just processing your data at a fixed regular interval of time, like it can be end of the day, or it can be mid of the day, or it can be every early morning, something like that. And this type of processing takes hours to days. Like these type of processing where you are processing data in OLAP system, these things takes hours to days to process the data and to just get some insights from them. So both are different. One is something like you can say deals with real time activity or real time processing, and second is somehow you can say deals with historical data, or they deal with batch time processing. Okay, let's come to next thing, big data processing types. In big data processing types, everything is OLAP. So let me tell you it again, everything is online analytical processing. Means in big data we always deal with historical data. In big data we always deals with large data. In big data most of the activity is batch based, means it can be end of the day, or it can be in middle of the day, or it can be in start of the day. So we will do batch processing here. So we will deal with historical data, not online data. Okay, if I talk about this big data processing, so big data processing are further divided into two types, batch processing and real time processing. Yeah, in some scenarios we deal with real time processing also if we talk about big data. Okay, we will discuss this later. So as I told you, batch processing deals with historical data stored in disk. So disk is something which we can say hard disk of our system. So this is the day end activity, or it can be mid of the day end activity, something like that. This deals with raw data. Examples are Hadoop, Spark Core, etc. Okay, now let's come to real time processing. Real time processing is further divided into two parts, real time query processing. So let's suppose you are performing a SQL query on the process data. So this is something you are on real time, you are processing your data. Okay, example, Hive integrated with Spark SQL. So your Hive is integrated with the Spark SQL and you are writing some query in Hive SQL, and then you are processing your data. So this is something which we will see in coming videos, like how to do these type of things. But for now you can understand something like that. Batch processing is something where we deal with historical data, and real time processing is something where we deal with like real time, in real time data. Okay, near real time processing. So real time processing, here also there is something known as near real time processing. So performing processing on process historical data, example Spark streaming. So there can be scenarios where you are dealing with historical data, but you are processing your data in real time, or you can say near real time. Okay, Spark streaming is the best example for understanding this near real time processing of data. Okay, let's come to next topic. So as I discussed with you, for processing of big data we need distributed systems. So now question arises, why these distributed systems are required in big data processing? So as I told you, while processing your data, if the volume of data is very high, our single machine or our single node, or you can say our personal system or personal machine cannot process that particular data. So in that scenario, we need many smaller systems to come together. As you can see in this diagram, I have created a cluster where many machines are connected to each other, and they will process that particular huge volume of data. That was big data. So if I answer this question, why distributed systems requires, so we can say if the volume of data is very high, if the varieties of data are different, in that scenario our personal machine or single machine cannot handle that particular processing or particular you can say analytics. In that scenario we need a distributed system. Okay, so why these only distributed systems? So let's take this scenario. Here we have 6 machines come together to create a cluster. So if in case you require some more cluster to come with this single cluster, so we can do this with distributed systems only. So you can say this distributed systems are scalable. Why? Because if in future you need more clusters to come together, so we can do this particular thing in distributed systems, because distributed systems are scalable. So I have one cluster and I am combining that particular cluster with same second cluster, and after combining that cluster I have 2x resources, means I have 2 clusters now, and now my speed will be again twice. So processing of data would be more fast in this scenario. So this is why we use distributed systems in big data processing. Let's come to next topic, that is 4 V's of big data. So as discussed earlier, what is volume? So volume is somehow you can say when your single machine or a single node or your personal machine is not able to handle or process that particular data, you can say that the particular data volume is high. Okay, or you can say that particular data is a big data. Okay, so next thing is velocity. Same thing I have discussed, like it refers to the speed at which the data is getting generated. This is mainly due to IoTs, mobile data, social media. So if you are using any social media platform in real time, you are like generating chunks of data, and it is generating at very high speed. Let's suppose 1 lakh people are using mobile phone or they are using Facebook, so they are generating chunks of data in each second. So velocity of data is very high. So this also characterize that the particular data which is getting generated from 1 lakh users is nothing but that is big data. In year 2000, Google was receiving 32.8 million searches per day. As for 2018, Google was receiving 5.6 million searches per day. So you can see here that the difference is very big. In 2000, Google was receiving 32.8 million searches. Now in 2018, it is receiving 5.6 million searches per day. So now you can understand what big data is and how important it is in future. So in coming days, data will be generated in chunks, and there is lot of requirement to process and clean that particular data so that others can consume and use that data, so they can do all the analytics and they can do all the machine learning things, something like that. Let's come to third thing, that is variety. So when we deal with big data can be in different varieties. As I discussed, that can be unstructured, structured, video data, audio data, text data, PDF data, JSON data, blah blah blah. Next thing is veracity. It refers to the nature of data. Data can be of poor quality, unclean data, or there may be uncertainties of data. So let's take a real time scenario where 1 lakh people are using Facebook and they are generating like chunks of data in 5 seconds. So the data can be of poor quality. So you must be able to handle that data, so that you must be able to clean or munch that data, so that one can come and consume that data, can understand that data, what is happening in the data. Okay. So if I talk about another definition of big data, more data getting generated at high speed, having many varieties and trustworthy. So this is something you can understand, like if that is big data, it can have many varieties of data, it can have chunks of volume of data, it can have veracity of data, data might be in poor quality. Okay, so this was all about the introduction part of big data. In coming tutorials we will discuss everything about big data and Hadoop. Thank you so much. Bye bye.